Hello and welcome to Run Testers. My name's Nick. In this video we're going to be comparing the Mizuno Neo Vista and the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4. The Neo Vista and the Endorphin Speed 4 are both nylon plated shoes that are designed to be very versatile shoes that can handle a wide range of training. They both broadly sit in the category of super trainer. The Endorphin Speed is £180 or $170, whereas the Neo Vista is £150 or $180. So difference in price is quite extreme with these two shoes if you're looking between the UK and the US. They're a similar weight. The Saucony Endorphin Speed is the lighter shoe though. It's 255 grams or 9 ounces in a UK 9. The Mizuno I have is a smaller shoe. It's a UK 8.5. And it weighs in at 259 grams or 9.1 ounces. They both have an 8mm drop, but you've got a much higher stack height on the Mizuno, which hits 44.5mm at the heel, dropping to 36.5 at the forefoot, whereas the Saucony is 36mm at the heel, 28 at the forefoot. The Endorphin Speed has obviously been around for a while, the fourth generation of the shoe, and it's had pretty similar key features throughout that time. You've got this Power Run PB midsole, which is a PB-based foam from Saucony. You've got two layers of that in the midsole on top with a nylon plate in between that is now winged to create some extra stability. You've got a pretty typical mesh upper with a fair amount of padding around the tongue and collar of the shoe and a fairly substantial internal heel counter. There's a bit more structure at the back of the shoe than you have with the Mizuno, I would say. And you've got a lattice outsole with pretty good rubber coverage on the forefoot, two strips of rubber at the back and a little cutout there that shows off the nylon plate in the shoe. You've got Saucony's Speed Roll rocker on the shoe, which has been a key part of the Endorphin line since they first launched the Speed and the Pro a little while back. With the Mizuno, you've got a midsole made of Mizuno's Energy Next foam, NXT foam, which is an EVA based foam, but very much one that sits in the super foam category with a very bouncy and soft feeling. You've got the nylon plate running through the shoe, which you can see from the massive cutout on the bottom of the shoe, which is substantially bigger even than the one on the Saucony Endorphin Speed there. You've also got a rocker on the shoe. It's Mizuno's Smooth Speed Assist rocker, which is similar to the one they have on shoes like the Wave Rebellion Pro or the Wave Rebellion Flash, but the rockers are more aggressive on those shoes, which are geared much more towards racing and real speed work. With this kind of more versatile approach with the Neo Vista, you've got the shallower angle of 5% to the rocker. You've got a knit booty upper here. It's all one piece on the shoe. Well, like I say, quite a high heel tab, but not a lot of structure and support at the back of the shoe there. It's quite a loose, flexible feeling all round. And you have pretty good rubber coverage aside from the massive cutout on the shoe. The full length of the shoe is covered on both sides and pretty good forefoot coverage there, but obviously the rubber can only be where there is foam to put it on. So you do have this big opening here, which does have a little habit of picking up rocks, I found. Right, now joined by Tom, first to talk about the fit of these two shoes. Tom, any fit qualms, concerns?
I'll start with the easy one. Saucony Endorphin Speed 4. No issues at all. Size 8 in the UK. I found this to be very comfortable. What you come to expect from the Speed 1 and 2. It fixes that issue that a lot of people had with the Speed 3 that made the upper quite a lot bigger and roomier, and a lot of people found they couldn't get a good fit in it because of that extra space. I think this has gone back to more the fit of the Speed 2, but for me it's absolutely fine. I'd definitely stay in my UK size 8 in this shoe. The Neo Vista, I would say that it is there is a bit more space in front of the toe in this shoe. So I'm a size 8 and this shoe's been fine, but I did notice there's a bit of extra space. So for some people, and I know you, would say size down half a size. So that's probably an option, but I didn't have any major issues with it.
Well, yeah, it's one of those ones that is on the bottom end of my size. So like, I tend to have flip between 8.5 and 9, US 9.5 and 10. And this shoe, I've gone for the smaller of those two sizes, and I've got a really good fit. Especially as a booty, I'd probably prefer a slightly tighter fit in general. So if you're on the barrier between two sizes, I would go for the smaller one with the Mizuno. But in general, I'd probably stick to your normal size. But like I say, I preferred that slight half size down. Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, I've got my normal size in, the same size I've had across all Saucony shoes. Like, I did have a bit of a problem with the 3 being a little bit wide for me with a narrow foot. Even now, I'm still pulling the races quite tight around the middle on the Endorphin Speed 4, but it's been better for me. I haven't had heel rub with this shoe as I did with the Endorphin Speed 3. So all round, I think they are pretty much true to size. It kind of, like I say, with the Mizuno, it really depends on your kind of size for your size. Now, Tom, you tend to like a reasonably tight fit, I think, in shoes. So well, maybe why it feels a bit loose, whereas I wanted a slightly tighter fit in the shoe as it's a booty. So it's perfect in the smaller of the two sizes I normally get. Run tests, Tom. These are two very impressive, versatile shoes, all-round shoes you can use for a bit of everything, and kind of talk us through what you've felt about them.
This is a really good versus to do, because sometimes when we do versus of trainers, we have very similar shoes, and it's almost quite hard to sort of differentiate the two. These are like polar opposite shoes, I think, when it comes to super trainers. You've got on one side the Endorphin Speed 4, which is very fast, skews very much towards the speedier sessions, but can do the slower things. But overall, it's a speed shoe. It's a shoe that you put on and you think, this is a shoe for running fast. It's not a firm shoe, but it has maybe a little bit more firmness in it than the Neo Vista. The Neo Vista is a shoe that can do lots of types of runs as well, but for me it skews more towards that sort of, it feels like a cushioned, comfortable shoe when you put it on, but you can run faster in it as well. A little bit like something like the New Balance Rebel V4, I think, in that way, that you sort of put it on and you can have a nice slow run and go, this is a really comfortable shoe. But once you start picking up the pace, you realise that it can do a lot more. So I think they're in the realms of super trainers. I think they're sort of polar opposites because of the way that they feel when you first put them on. But I think that they are both fantastic, versatile trainers. Definitely at the top of the tier for versatile daily shoes and all rounders at the moment. Just a very different feel from them both.
Yeah, definitely really versatile shoes. And I was gonna say, like, before we go into the fine details, I think we both agree that these are great for everything. So kind of just picking, like you say, between the feel of them, and it is a different feel. Like, I just actually had a little run in both of them at the same time, and you've got the firmer, the faster rocker for sure on the Speed 4, and noticeably more ground contact under the forefoot. I think you definitely get a firmer feeling under the forefoot, and over time that can be a little bit less comfortable, but it also does, I think, help the Speed feel like a faster shoe and perform a bit better in terms of really fast reps, that kind of thing. The Neo Vista, you really step into it, it is a very welcoming shoe, very accommodating shoe. Like, it's got, maybe they've both got rockers, obviously. I think like the Mizuno one's almost angled a bit less than the Speed to be a bit more mellow and more relaxed, and it does turn over really nicely at very slow paces. I think the same is true of the Speed 4, but it is maybe more of an acquired taste at that kind of pace. Like, it's not necessarily a shoe I think everyone will enjoy at very slow paces, because it isn't quite as soft and kind of bouncy as the Mizuno is. But there's a lot of spring in the Speed, I think, when you start to up the pace, but probably not as much as the Mizuno. It definitely feels like a bouncier shoe, and it's weird. It definitely does feel more relaxed. It feels like you are going to run around, do more easy runs in, but I've gone down the track in the Mizuno and done some hard K reps, some hard 400s, and it does perform for those. It turns over fast, it gives you enough bounce, it doesn't feel mushy or in a way that's kind of lessening your speed on the track. The Saucony has a better feel for speed. I enjoy it more for that kind of speed work, but the actual terms of performance is probably quite similar all round. And yeah, you then do have, I think, a more comfortable, relaxed shoe for mooching around in when you are going for easy runs in the Mizuno. It's got a really pleasant feel at slow paces. It still turns over quite speedily and just doesn't really hold you back in any way on easy runs. Like, it doesn't feel too mushy or anything like that, because the foam just really bounces back well. So yeah, I do think they're right up there for versatility right now. They're both really comfortable at easy paces. They both are fast, but you've got that more aggressive rocker feel, I think, with the Speed 4, and I think a little bit less forefoot cushioning. So if I do a hard hour in something like the Speed, I think it probably will be easier to hold that fast speed in the shoe compared to the Mizuno. I think it rolls through it better, a bit more efficiently, but I think the comfort would be there in the Mizuno. I sometimes get a bit of forefoot discomfort from the Speed if I run hard for long periods in it, which just hasn't happened at all with the Mizuno, because it is so cushioned. It's got that extra, few centimetres of stack height. No, millimetres. A few centimetres would be mad.
I'd take it. Yeah, I think the way I use these shoes. So the Mizuno, when I'm doing a lot of easy runs at the moment, I'm being a bit lazy at the moment, and I want to reach for the Mizuno when I'm just going for an easy run. I just think it's so comfortable and enjoyable to wear, and it's nice to have that extra bit in the tank where you can go, well, if I do feel like going a bit faster today, this shoe can do it. With the Speed 4, I know some people own the Speed series and it's the only shoe they own because it can do everything. But I would very rarely reach for it because I've got so many shoes. I'm very rarely going to reach for the Speed 4 if I'm going to go out for a jog. I tend to use the Speed if there's a reason for it, like I'm going, doing intervals or something like that, or I'm going out for a slightly more tempo effort. So yeah, I think it really does come down to that sort of feel that you want from these shoes. And for me, I just I like bounce. So where my mind goes with these shoes.
Yeah. So I think it almost comes down to gut feel. Like you say, if you're looking at a pile of shoes, I've got a hard hour on the plan. My instinct is the Speed, and if I'm going out for a relaxed long run and I might pick up the pace at the end, my instinct says the Mizuno. But they can both do those jobs really well. But yeah, that's how they kind of break down a little bit for me. Okay, Tom, verdict. So, two really good shoes here, both very versatile. Pricing's a bit interesting. We're just talking about it. The Mizuno is cheaper than the Speed in the UK, but more expensive than the Speed in the US. Would that come into it for you, or how would you pick between them?
So if I was going to, it depends. So if I wanted to buy one pair of shoes and it was my daily shoe and I wanted to do loads of different runs in it, I would go for the Mizuno Neo Vista. I just think it suits my running better. I predominantly do more comfortable miles, longer miles, and this shoe just works better for me for that. And yeah, the price is a really big thing. So in the UK, there's a big difference in the price of these two shoes. You're saving, how much is the Speed? It's
180 or 170?
70. So either way, you're saving at least 20 quid on getting the Mizuno Neo Vista, which I think is quite a big
180.
amount. 180, so 30 quid.
£30, Tom.
£30, which is a lot of money. It's quite surprising to find a shoe that I would say is one of the best super trainers out at the moment, which still hits that £150 mark, because most of them are getting considerably more expensive at the moment. So when it comes to price, I would say definitely the Mizuno Neo Vista for my running style. If they were the same price, I would still say the Neo Vista, just because I really like the feel of the shoe. I think it's really enjoyable. I think the Speed 4 is a fantastic shoe. I think it, I know everyone who runs in the Speed series absolutely loves them. I've loved running them over in the past, but I do think the Speed 4 skews more towards that sort of faster effort stuff, and even though you can do the easier efforts in it, it doesn't excel at those. It's not the most amazing shoe to wear if you're going for a nice comfortable run. So I'd go for the Neo Vista all the way, on all counts, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, fair enough. No, I think it does depend. There are different times in my training where I probably would veer between them. I'd say, like if I was doing quite polarized training, I was doing lots of easy runs, then hard sessions, I'd probably pick up the Neo Vista to do all those kind of easy runs and look at, a carbon shoe. I already had like an old race shoe for hard sessions, but I'm doing a lot of the time I'm doing lots of progression runs, lots of faster efforts in between sessions as well, just not too fast. But I do think the Speed 4 just works really well for me for that kind of thing. It's one of those things where I feel like it's probably more about what you really focus on. You really like having that nice soft feeling on those easy runs. Easy runs, I'm never that concerned about my shoe, but I probably want the shoe that's got the more top end versatility as opposed to because I do think the Neo Vista is more comfortable. I definitely agree. It's more fun on easy runs. It's bouncier. It's nicer. It's more accommodating, and that would be the majority of my running. It would be in that kind of run, but I care less about what I'm wearing on easy runs compared to faster runs. And I do think the Speed has the edge for those faster runs. I think it turns over really well. It's got that firmer, more feel for speed, and it produces the speed well for me. I've always found the rocker really effective for me, so I probably would still lean towards it. I'd say though, if you're going to end up with a rotation, if you have got a speed shoe you're really happy using a lot, like a carbon shoe, Neo Vista is probably the better daily trainer, I think, because it does have that bounce, that extra softness, and the really nice kind of turnover for easy runs. So probably the recommendation for lots of people would be this shoe. And in the UK, yeah, it's a £30 saving. That's certainly worth considering. In the US, it's $10 more, so it's very similar, really, I think, over there. And I think probably if you're a newer runner looking for an all-rounder, I know the Mizuno looks a bit wacky in terms of the height and everything, but we don't really feel like it's that unstable a shoe, so I think it is quite accommodating to lots of runners as well, and would be a really good all-rounder for someone who isn't obsessing about speed as much as I am. But I would say if you're looking for an all-rounder that you are going to race in, I would get the Endorphin Speed, though, if you're just getting one shoe for all of that, and I think it's a faster race day shoe.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I know a lot of people who buy the Speed and that's their one shoe are training for things like half marathons and marathons, and they're trying to get PBs in it. If that was the case, and if I only had one pair of shoes and I was training for marathons and things, I would go for the Speed 4. But in this world of rotations and I'm getting a daily shoe, I want it to be more on the comfortable side of it that I can do more in. But I do think the Speed 4. I mean, it's a difficult decision because I've got a different use case for using both of these, but ultimately, if it came down to I can only have one shoe for most of my runs, I'd go Neo Vista.
It's quite a nice little two-shoe rotation as well. If you're not going for the really comfortable shoes and the really fast carbon shoes, if you want two very versatile shoes, they are a nice little 1-2 punch there. They really would complement each other quite well. Anyway, yeah, big fans of both though.